of registration under GST. Okay, so all are requested to post and stay in the meeting. So good morning, students. Welcome to the GST and Customs Act class. This is the third revision class. Revision class the third, the first unit. In this class, we try to revive or we try to review the advantages and disadvantages of GST registration or GST. Advantages and disadvantages of GST registration or GST. Okay. Hailed as one of the biggest reforms of the country, the goods and service tax subsumes many indirect taxes which were imposed by center and state, such as excise duty, value added tax, and service tax. It is levied on both goods and services sold in the country. Okay, so before enactment of GST, there were number of various legislations enacted by both the central government and various state governments to levy various taxes on various goods and various services. So excise duty, customs duty, value added tax, service tax, sales tax, like this several types of local taxes, like these several taxes were used to levy in India based on the need of the government, based on the nature of the goods, based on the state in which they are doing business. Okay. So as a result, what has happened due to implementation or due to multiple taxes to be paid by the traders as well as customers, there was ambiguity in the implementation and collection of various taxes, and the government could not get proper income out of these various tax systems that are levied in India before enactment of GST. Then after enactment of GST, most of the problems that were associated with the multiple tax system before enactment of GST were removed or reduced to the maximum extent. Okay, so what are the advantages of GST, or what are the advantages of having the registration under GST? The important advantages of GST is number one, GST eliminates the cascading effect of tax. GST eliminates the cascading effect of tax. How the cascading effect of tax was eliminated by GST and its registration? So GST, goods and service tax, is a comprehensive indirect tax that was designed to bring indirect taxation under one umbrella. That means GST has eliminated all the previous various indirect taxes, and it is the only indirect tax system, or it is the one of the major indirect tax system that was adapted after several decades. More importantly, it is going to eliminate the cascading effect of tax that was evident earlier. Cascading tax effect can be best described as tax on tax. Okay, before enactment of GST, in our country, there were several taxes and duties levied by both central government and state government and local governments. As a result, there were several times the government used to tax on tax. The traders used to pay tax on already paid tax. The customers are used to pay tax on already paid tax. So this is called a cascading effect. So as a result, the prices of the commodities went up, and the customers felt very unhappy in spite of paying tax on tax. The government could not get proper revenue from the indirect tax system. Okay, so that's why from last 2 decades, the government has been thinking of introducing a new tax system in Indian economy so as to reduce the burden of customers and improve the income of the government. Okay, so in the previous regime, there was a tax on tax. So this can be seen in a better example. Let us take this example to understand what is tax on tax. You just see this example before GST regime. That means before implementation of the GST. Example, a consultant offering services for say 50,000 rupees and charged a service tax of 15%. Okay, so on 50,000, 15% tax, service tax means 7,500 rupees is the service tax he paid. Then say he would buy office supplies for 20,000 rupees, paying 5% as value added tax. He has purchased 20,000 rupees office supplies by paying 5% as value added tax. So what is the value added tax? 20% on 5% on 20,000 means 1,000 rupees. That means how much total tax he has paid? 7,500 rupees service tax, 1,000 rupees value added tax. Total 8,500 rupees. He had to pay 7,500 output service tax without getting any deduction of 1,000 VAT already paid on stationery. Because in the previous regime, there was no return of the input tax credit. Okay, so as a result, he has paid a total 8,500 rupees tax as a outgoing or outflow tax. This was the situation before GST regime. Suppose in the same example after GST, after implementation of the GST, how the burden of tax has reduced. In the same example, the GST on services of 50,000 at the rate of 18%. For example, The services come under 18% category. So what is the GST on services? 50,000 into 18 by 100, that is 9,000 rupees service tax. Next, from this service tax, whatever the tax paid on office furniture or office stationery, that can be deducted by the trader as a input tax credit. So less GST on office supplies, that is 5%. 5% on 20,000, that is 1,000 rupees. That means 9,000 rupees is the outflow tax he has paid, and 1,000 rupees is the input tax credit which we got returned. So net GST to pay is only 8,000 rupees. In the previous regime, it was 8,500 rupees. After implementation of GST, is the tax reduced to 8,000 rupees. This is how the cascading effect, tax on tax, has been reduced, or tax burden has reduced in the GST regime. Next, number 2, higher threshold for registration. Higher threshold, that means the annual turnover limit was higher in case of GST. So as per the latest GST registration, what was the maximum annual turnover? That is a 20 lakhs and 10 lakhs. 20 lakhs and 10 lakhs. 20 lakhs rupees is the aggregate turnover, total maximum aggregate turnover in case of general states. 10 lakhs is in case of special category states. Okay. So as a result, the burden of paying tax has been reduced. Okay. So earlier in the VAT structure, earlier means before implementation of the GST, any business with a turnover of more than 5 lakhs in most of the states, any business with a turnover of more than 5 lakhs was liable to pay VAT. That means value added tax. Please note that this limit differed state-wise. That means this VAT limitation limit, 5 lakhs limit, is differed in different states. It is different in different states. Also, service tax was exempted for service providers with a turnover of less than 10 lakhs. So, the service tax, which was levied earlier by the central government, was exempted for service providers whose turnover is less than 10 lakhs. Next, but under GST regime, however, this threshold limit, that means maximum annual turnover, has been increased to 20 lakhs. Has been increased to rupees 20 lakhs in the normal states. In case of special category states, it was 10 lakhs rupees. So which exempts many small traders and service providers. So due to this threshold limit of 20 lakhs and 10 lakhs rupees, most of the small traders, most of the small suppliers, most of the small and medium suppliers are exempted from registration. So exempted from registration means they need not pay tax. Okay, so it is an advantage for the small and medium enterprises. So the tax type and threshold limit. As far as excise duty is concerned, 1.5 crores, VAT 5 lakhs in most of the states, service tax 10 lakhs rupees threshold limit, GST 20 lakhs, 10 lakhs for northeastern states, that is special category states. So when compare with the other previous regime threshold limit, the GST threshold limit was higher. As a result, the traders got benefited. Okay. Next, number 3, composition scheme for small businesses. There is a composition scheme introduced by the central government for small businesses. Under GST, small businesses with a turnover of rupees 20 lakhs to 75 lakhs can benefit, as it gives an option to lower taxes by utilizing the composition scheme. This move has brought down the tax and the compliance burden on many small businesses. Okay, so the composition scheme, we have already discussed about the composition scheme. So the composition scheme is meant for the small traders. Even the small traders whose annual turnover exceeds 20 lakhs, and up to 75 lakhs, they have the choice to opt for composition scheme. So if they opt composition scheme, automatically the tax burden for them will be very, very less. The tax burden will be very, very less when compared to the normal scheme. Therefore, under GST, small businesses can benefit, and as it gives an option to lower taxes by utilizing the composition scheme. Okay, this is another advantage. But if the annual turnover in a financial year is less than 20 lakhs, they need not register at all. They need not register if their annual turnover is less than 20 lakhs. If it is more than 20 lakhs, but below 75 lakhs, then they can opt for composition scheme. Okay, so that is the third advantage of the GST or GST registration. Next, number 4, simple and easy online procedure. Simple and easy online procedure. So, implementation of the various formalities that are associated with GST are very, very, very simple and user friendly. They are very simple and user friendly. You need not have that much of technical knowledge. Even a small educated or lower educated person can also follow the procedures and the formalities under GST. Either in case of registration, or in case of giving options, or in case of filing of returns, or in case of giving replies to the notice given by the GST authorities. Each and every process, each and every step has been fixed, and the process is an online procedure. Every format is available in a website of the GST portal, everything is available. Okay. So the entire process of GST, from registration to filing returns, everything is made online. Everything is made online, and it is super simple. It is very simple. It is very simple to follow the formalities in the online. This has been beneficial for startups, especially as they do not have to run from pillar to post to get different registrations such as VAT, excise, and service tax. Because VAT has gone, service tax has gone, excise duty on some products, only on some products they are paying excise duty. Everything has gone. You need not register separately for VAT, separately for excise, separately for service tax. You just register for GST, that's all. That registration is applicable. That registration is more than enough for any tax system. Okay, so therefore, the online procedure or the entire process of GST is made so easy and simple. This has been beneficial for startups, especially as they do not have to run from pillar to post. You need not file any physical application, physical returns, no physical registration forms, no physical notices, no physical replies. Nothing is physical. Everything is online. Everything is online in the GST portal. Okay, so everything is step by step. You can fill without any burden. You can fulfill all formalities through online only. That's all. From registration to filing returns, everything is online. So you need not go to anybody. You need not request anybody. You need not bribe anybody. Okay. Next, number 5. Number of compliances is lesser. The number of compliances are comparatively very lesser in the under GST. Earlier, there was VAT, service tax, sales tax, customs duty, each of which has its own returns and compliances. VAT, you have to register separately, you have to file returns separately to the VAT officials. Service tax registration separate. You have to file separate returns to the service tax department. Customs registration separate. You have to file separate returns to the customs. All these things have gone. Now only one registration, only one compliance. So in the previously excise, for excise tax, you have to submit monthly returns, monthly physical returns. Service tax, proprietorship, partnership, quarterly, and limited liability partnership, monthly. VAT, value added tax, different for different states. Some states require monthly returns over a threshold limit. Some states like Karnataka require a monthly return. So the traders used to file different returns with separately to the different departments. They have to get registered under different departments with a different number. The multiple formalities, multiple compliances they used to follow. But after Implementation of GST, only GST, only GST. So the GST registration and GST returns will be applicable to all the things. You need not file separate returns to the uh, excise or service tax. Excise duty, service tax, VAT, everything has gone. Only one, that is GST. Under GST, however, there is just one unified return to be filed. Therefore, the number of returns to be filed has come down. Only one return, that's all. There are about 11 returns under GST, out of which 4 are basic returns that apply to all taxable persons under GST. The main GSTR1 is manually populated, and GSTR2 and GSTR3 will be auto-populated. So the returns to be filed under the GST regime are very, very less, and they are standardized formats, and some of the formats are auto-populated. If you submit one, for example, GSTR1, GSTR1 is to be filled by the suppliers. Automatically GSTR2 and GSTR3 will be auto-populated. You need not fill again. Okay, like that, several the compliances and the returns to be filed, all these things have been reduced drastically. Next, number 6, define treatment for e-commerce operators. Defined treatment. That means the treatment for e-commerce operators is defined. Specific procedure has been fixed for e-commerce operators. Earlier to the GST regime, supplying goods to the e-commerce sector was not defined. It had variable VAT laws. So due to VAT laws implemented by different states, the dealings, the treatment of or treatment with e-commerce operators were different. Because in each and every state the procedures are different. VAT systems were different. Therefore, there is no uniformity in the treatment of e-commerce operators before GST. Okay, so online websites like Flipkart and Amazon delivering to Uttar Pradesh had to file a VAT declaration and mention the registration number of the delivery truck. Tax authorities could sometimes seize goods if the documents were not produced. Again, these e-commerce brands were treated as a facilitators or mediators by states like Kerala, Rajasthan, and West Bengal, which did not require them to register for VAT. All these differential treatments and the confusing compliances have been removed under GST. For the first time, GST has clearly mapped out the provisions applicable to the e-commerce sector, and since these are applicable all over India, there should be no complication regarding the interstate movement of goods anymore. Okay, so the treatment regarding the e-commerce operators was clearly defined in the GST regime, but before GST regime there was no clarity. Next, number 7, improved efficiency of logistics. Improved efficiency of logistics. Earlier, the logistics industry in India had to maintain multiple warehouses across states to avoid the current central sales tax and the state entry taxes on interstate movement. These warehouses were forced to operate below their capacity, giving room for increased operating costs. So before GST, Several godowns, several warehouses were used to be maintained by the business organizations because in each and every state there may be some difference in the rules and procedures, and they have to connect each other. So the logistic cost used to be very high in the previous regime. But after implementation of the GST, the number of warehouses has been reduced. You need not have any warehouses because once you pay the tax, you can sell the goods to at any place. You can sell your goods at any place throughout India. So under GST, however, these restrictions on interstate movement of goods have been lessened. You can sell your goods by paying proper tax. That's all. You pay tax, you sell your goods anywhere in India. As an outcome of GST, warehouse operators and e-commerce aggregators players have shown interest in setting up their warehouses at strategic locations such as Nagpur, which is a zero-mile city of India, instead of every other city and other in their delivery route. So the number of warehouses, number of godowns has been reduced, and the company can operate with a single warehouse throughout India. Reduction in unnecessary logistic cost. As a result of reduction in the warehouses and godowns, logistic cost has reduced drastically. So as a result of reduction in the logistic cost, already increased profits by business involved in the supply of goods through transportation. Okay, the profits of the businesses which are supplying or which are involved in the supplying of the goods, their profits have been increased. Next, number 8, unorganized sector is regulated under GST. Unorganized sector also brought to the umbrella of GST. So unorganized sector also regulated under GST. In the pre-GST era, it was often seen that certain industries in India like construction and textile were largely unregulated and unorganized. Under GST regime, there are provisions for online compliances and payments and for availing of input tax credit only when the supplier has accepted the amount. This has brought in accountability and regulation to these industries. So that's the logic, or that logic through which the unorganized sector also is able to control by the regulated by the government. Now let us look at the disadvantages of GST. So uh, please note that the business need to overcome these advantages to run the business smoothly. So these are not actually disadvantages; these are limitations because every system has its own limitations. So GST is not exemption for that. GST also having certain limitations. So under the disadvantages or limitations category 1, increased cost due to software purchase. So due to purchase of software, the cost of compliances has increased. So business have to either update their existing accounting or ERP software to GST compliant, one or buy GST software so that they can keep their business going. But both the options lead to the increased cost of software purchase and the training of employees for efficient utilization of the new billing software. Okay, so this because it is a new system for the purpose of following the procedures, you have to give training to the people and it involves a lot of cost. Next, number 2, not being GST compliant can attract penalties. If does not want to, anybody don't want to follow the compliances of GST, then they will attract the penalties from the central government. Okay, small and medium-sized enterprises may still not be able to grasp the nuances of the GST tax regime. They will have to issue GST compliant invoice, be compliant with digital record keeping, and of course, file timing, file timely returns. This means that the GST compliant involves issued must have mandatory details such as GSTIN, place of supply, HSN code, and others. Okay, so for the purpose of implementation of the GST, the small and medium enterprises may feel burden due to the high cost. Next, number three, GST will means an increase in operational cost. So GST means an increase in operational cost. GST is changing the way how tax is paid. Businesses will now have to employ tax professionals to be GST compliant. So to be compliant with the GST, the businesses have to appoint a tax professional tax professionals so that they can fulfill the formalities of GST. So as a result, it increases the operational cost of GST. Next, number four, GST came into effect in the middle of the financial year. As the what was the date from which the GST was implemented? It was July 1st, 2017. It was July 1st, 2017. From that date, the GST came into existence. So, since it came into existence in the middle of the financial year, therefore, some of the organizations have felt difficult to make changes accordingly. So, GST was implemented on 1st July 2017. Businesses followed the old tax structure for first 3 months, April, May, June, and GST for the rest of the financial year. Businesses may find it hard to get adjusted to the new tax regime, and some of them are running these tax systems parallelly, resulting in confusion and compliance issues. Next, number five, adapting to a complete online taxation system. So, under earlier, businesses are now switching from pen to paper invoicing and file to online return filing and make payments. This might be tough for some small businesses to adapt it. So, in the GST system, there was no paper and pen required to be submitted. So everything is online. So small businesses may have problem in following this. Next, number six, SMEs will have a higher tax burden. Small and medium enterprises will have higher tax burden. Small smaller businesses, especially in the manufacturing sector, will face difficulties under GST. Earlier, only businesses whose turnover exceeds 1.5 crore had to pay excise duty. But now, any business whose turnover exceeds 20 lakhs will have to pay tax, pay GST. So this is another disadvantage. However, SMEs with a turnover up to 75 lakhs can opt for the composition scheme and pay only 1% tax on turnover in lieu of GST and enjoy lesser compliances. Okay, so small and medium enterprises, they are facing some problem regarding the GST implementation and the GST registration. Okay, so these are the various advantages and disadvantages associated with the GST Act or GST registration. So no doubt any system will have its own advantages and disadvantages. Since it is a new system introduced in India, and the most of the problems have been understood, and government has tried to solve the problems and try to uh, help the suppliers or traders so as to make the GST as a user friendly. So change is definitely never easy. Change will be always sometimes difficult, but after sometimes you will be uh, easy. It is the government is trying to smoothen the road to the GST. It is important to take a leaf from global economies that have implemented GST before us and overcome the teething troubles to experience the advantages of having a unified tax system and easy input credits. So, so they now after implementation of the GST, now 3 years have been completed, almost 3 years completed. Um, Not 3 years, 18, 19, 20, 21. 4 years period has completed. So during these 4 years, government has rectified several problems, and the traders are feeling very happy regarding the GST and the GST registration. So this is all about the advantages and the disadvantages of GST registration and the GST formalities. Okay. Thank you very much for joining the class. Okay. So నెక్స్ట్ మంత్లో మీరు ఈరోజు పేపర్ న్యూస్ కూడా చూసుంటారు. నెక్స్ట్ మంత్లో ఎగ్జామినేషన్స్ కంపల్సరీగా ఉంటాయి కాబట్టి ప్లీజ్ ఆల్ ఆఫ్ యూ బీ వెల్ ప్రిపేర్ ఫర్ ది ఎగ్జామినేషన్స్.
Thank you, sir.
You also inform our friends to attend more